Welcome to the Heart-Led Business Show, where compassion meets commerce and leaders lead with love. Join your host, Tom Jacobs, as he delves into the insightful conversations with visionary business leaders who defy the status quo, putting humanity first and profit second. From heartfelt strategies to inspiring stories, this podcast is your compass in the world of conscious capitalism. So buckle up and let your heart guide your business journey.
Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Andrew Grinbaum, a masterful entrepreneur who's been a 5-time business builder, an MBA professor, and your go-to guide for heart-centered leadership. With a sprinkle of mindfulness and a dash of meditation, Andrew empowers executives to elevate their enterprises while enriching their lives. Get ready to unlock the secret to creating a business that thrives without driving you into the ground. So let's dive in. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot. That was great. Great intro.
Oh, thanks. So I'm really excited to dive into your background and what's gotten you to the point of being heart-led, because you do have a really interesting background and a lot of different things that you're working on. But first, of course, I always like to ask people, what's your definition of a heart-led business?
So that's a great question. And the answer to that is going to be a little bit long, but I hope it'll make sense. As I mentioned to you, I've been studying Kabbalah for over 30 years, and I use it with my companies and my clients' companies. And there is a concept in the Kabbalah called a 3-column system. I use that with all my clients, use it with myself, use it to build my businesses. And that's understanding that there's 3 forces at work. We see it in circuitry today. That's how we can talk about it. There's 3 forces at work. One of them is called the right column, which is the sharing part of you. It's what you naturally are really good at. That's the right column. What you naturally are good at. You're good at public speaking, right? That's your right column. You can naturally share with people, connect with people. That's great. There's also the left column, which is what you want to receive. And that's a really, really important part of any circuit. And that's what we want. And we should be a little bit selfish, right? We should know what we want, right? How can you get there if you don't know what you want? So that's really an important part of it. But the third part is called the central column, or the third column. It's what you need to restrict to reveal everything you want in life. And that comes in by connecting to your heart primarily, because your heart knows, or as we call it in Kabbalah, the soul is the seat of the heart. So it's a very quiet voice. It's here, that little voice. When you calm down and when you listen to your heart, which is really your soul, you know exactly what to do. And most of our problems come, I'm sure you'll agree, most of our problems come from a place of knowing what we need to do and we don't do it, or not doing the thing that little voice inside us, our soul, is telling us to do. And so that's where I try to steer my clients, is to these 2 parts. A lot of people understand, right? They learn through coaching, through personal development, professional development, what they're really good at, right? And they oftentimes start businesses around what they're great at. The second part is actually pretty hard. It becomes harder for heart-led people because, I just want to share. I don't want to be selfish. No, you have to be selfish. You have to know what you want exactly. Do you want to make $10 million next year or $5 million? You know, how many people are out working for you? What sort of business you want to create? That's the kind of like the nuts and bolts of business coaching, let's say, right? Helping you figure that out. But the central column, the heart part, is actually a very practical part. And I try to lead clients into the first 2 parts they get. The third part is sometimes very difficult for people because it takes calming down. It takes listening to your soul or your heart. And that's what I think a heart-led business is. I hope I'm answering your question. It's such a deep question. We could talk about it in every podcast, which is what you do. It's a great podcast. But that's what it's about. And that's my job as a coach sometimes, to push back in a very careful way, right? Or to open up space for people to see that they're not doing the thing that they need to be doing. And somehow through conversations, I hear their heart talking, but they're still too focused on being oversharing or over wanting. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I feel like a lot of the heart-centered entrepreneurs are in the oversharing, and they like to just give everything away. And they don't restrict the number of people that like free stuff from them versus paying for their service and their knowledge as well.
Yeah.
I really like that, the restrict piece as well, because I think people have a hard time saying no to things and thinking, especially if you're in that scarcity mindset and a
Absolutely.
new opportunity comes by and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing opportunity, but it has no alignment to your business, to your heart, to your passion or purpose. That's a bad thing to do. But a lot of people, unfortunately, take that up because
Correct.
they're in that scarcity mindset. How do you
Yeah.
help people get through those type of moments?
Yeah, no, that's a really great question. I always start with about my first 5 or 6 sessions with people is getting clear on their, what we call in Kabbalah, the left column, what they desire.
Yeah.
If you can, and that's really important for heart-led and for spiritual CEOs and business owners and founders. Yes, they often overshare. It's okay to share. You have to learn how to share,
Yeah, it's great.
right?
Yeah.
But you should first define the first 5 or 6 sessions is all about them, all about really getting clear on what they want to do in this world, what they want to achieve, both for humanity and for the planet, but also for themselves. Very important. Not all of us can be a Mother Teresa. And first of all, we have to make money. And in fact, if you're offering the better product you share, the more heart-based offer you have, actually, you should be charging even more because there's a lot of commodities out there. And we come from a real authentic place. We have actual things to offer the marketplace that are life-changing. And if you have something that's life-changing, you have to get paid for it. So we define, what does that look like? And then what I do is I reference that. I was telling you right before the show began that it's like, I want to tell some stories. And of course, right before this, I had a client who wants to quit coaching. She had some setbacks and she's in a long-term contract. And I'm like, no, you're going to do the coaching. And I know you've had these setbacks. And I know it's been tough. And somebody ripped her off like $10,000 and it's horrible. She just wants to quit everything. I'm like, no, this is the time to buckle down. Remember what you want to do. She has an incredible product to bring natural fibers in the sportswear. It's a really great thing. All these athletes are wearing a lot of polyester and it's not healthy for them. And the data shows that it's scientifically proven. I'm like, you're bringing something so incredible to the marketplace. Don't quit now. I know you've had some 6 months has been slow going, but I remind her what she's here to accomplish. Stick with it. And in 6 months, see where you're at. But certainly if you pull back, then nothing's going to happen.
Exactly.
Right. So we go back to the root. That's why it's so important to get clear on what your purpose is, right? What your vision is, what your values are, but really authentic values. I study Kabbalah, which is mysticism. And some people say, do you have to believe in God to study Kabbalah? No, you don't. Because an atheist can have values and they can be a great humanist. They can have great values, ethics, all these things matter. All these things matter. And you have to get clear on them. Some of my clients are evangelical Christians. Some are atheists. I take them all as long as they want to make a difference in the world, right? So all those people, whether you're an evangelical Christian or an atheist or somewhere in between, you can still have a mission and a purpose and great values, right? And what you want to achieve, right? With that, you're bringing all this to the marketplace. Great. What do you want for yourself? We'll always go back to that. What do you want for yourself? Now you have to restrict. It's going to be tough. For her, it's a tough week, really tough, where somebody's not cooperating with her, ripped her off. It's the end of the year. You just want to quit. I get it. But if she connects with her heart, and that's where a lot of meditation work comes in, she really just calms down, just relaxes, meditates, goes out in nature, whatever she needs to do, she will reconnect with her heart. And she wants to change the world. So that's more important than any sort of minor setback. In the big picture, $10,000 is a lot of money, but in the big picture, it's really not when you're changing the world.
Yeah, and that's interesting too, when people have those little setbacks and then they want to quit doing something because of a setback rather than looking at the bigger picture of what's really going on. I think if you don't have a strong North Star or purpose or drive, that's going to be very easy to give up on stuff.
Yep.
And just say, the hero, it's not working again. So on to the next thing. And I know I've definitely been down that road. I think we've all been down that road.
Me too.
Yeah, it's a little shiny object syndrome. It's
Yeah.
grass is greener on the other side. But when we stick to stuff and we stick with our principles and our purpose, that's when life gets really fun.
And I always remind people, I like the analogy of, I don't know whether it's apocryphal, it really happened, right? Edison broke 10,000 light bulbs to get to I don't know if it's 10,000 or 1,000. Sure, he tried a long time ago.
Well, he tried a lot, right?
He tried a lot. And he's a great change agent, literally brought light to the world. I am sure after maybe 500 experiments that failed, nobody would have faulted him for quitting, right? His wife, I was calling, hey, Charles, maybe. All right, Charles, that's his first name.
Thomas.
Charles, right? Thomas, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, it's late. It's late here. Thomas, maybe you want to come in. I made you dinner. The kids miss you. Nobody would have faulted him. So we have to keep going. And you have to ask yourself, most of us quit way before the 500th failure. And the greatest people were extremists. I talk a lot with my clients about business leaders and famous historical leaders. They're all crazy extremists, the successful people.
Yeah.
Crazy people in a good way. Like they don't quit. They have this tenacity to never quit. All right. So that's also a big part of it because it is so easy to quit. It's easy. You're given, oh, you were okay. You tried. In our society, it's okay to try. That's not what entrepreneurs do. We can't just try. We don't get a medal for that.
No participation ribbon.
No participation trophy on the back. You don't get that.
Yeah.
So people pat you, oh, good job. You tried. Great. And then you come to the end of your life and you're like, oh, all these things I could have done. Could have, should have, would have.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I'd like to kind of go back just a little bit and get your backstory in terms of how you came about using Kabbalah as a coaching methodology.
Yeah, it's a great question. I found during grad school a Kabbalah class and I started taking it. I thought, oh, this is really interesting because growing up, I went to Hebrew school. I grew up Jewish in the Jewish faith. And no matter what kind of religious schooling you go to, whether it's Jewish, Christian, Catholic, they don't answer your questions if you have deep questions. Right. They just don't have the answers. So I got really disenchanted with the whole religious thing. I was just a cultural Jew. I didn't connect to anything like that. And when I found the Kabbalah, it was a place where it said, ask any question and don't believe anything we say. Don't believe anything we say, prove it to yourself. And there's no question you can't ask. And I like that. I started using it practically. It's a practical philosophy. It's a practical system. It's not just philosophy. There's practical tools that go back. Actually, the first book of Kabbalah, a lot of people don't know this, it predates the Bible by 400 years. It was written by Abraham the patriarch.
Okay.
All right. People don't know that before the Bible, there was other books. Right? We know there's other books before the Bible, but Abraham wrote a book. So it's very ancient and it's a technology that you can utilize in your life to improve it. And the way I learned Kabbalah, it's almost like you can look at Moses as the spiritual leader, but I look at him more as the ancient Tony Robbins and Abraham and all these guys and women too. They had these techniques to be successful. And we see that a lot of people in the Bible were extraordinarily successful. And by the way, extraordinarily rich. In Jewish synagogues, they read about Joseph. And Joseph, right? We know this from, even if you don't read the Bible, you've probably seen one of the movies, Joseph in it, right? Prince of Egypt and all these things. He was the richest person maybe in the world who ever lived. And they called him Yosef HaTzadik, Joseph the righteous. So you can be righteous, whatever that means to you, and be rich. And that's one of the things I learned too, because growing up in the Judeo-Christian world, we're often taught that money is evil. We have it somehow in us. It's the love of money that's evil, but we have this guilt around it. And I immigrated from the Soviet Union, very poor. Everybody was poor in my family, parents, grandparents, everything, grew up poor. So you have this thing around money.
Yeah.
And the first place I learned really the power of money, how important it is to have money, is in the Kabbalah. When I learned about all these guys, wait a minute, Jacob, Abraham, Joseph, all these guys were super rich. And we remember them thousands of years later. So I started using it after I finished grad school, I got a job in publishing in corporate America. And about a year into it, I'm like, I grew so much in Kabbalah using these kind of like ancient personal development techniques that I quit corporate America. And in the 90s, when nobody was doing it, I became a consultant. I was working from home. I had a phone. I had a fax machine. That was mine. I remember those. Fax machine. I had a phone, like a dial-up.
Yeah.
I may have had a headset.
Yeah.
And I became a consultant because I said, you know what? Nobody's listening to me. And I want to do something more than just work in corporate America. But it was funny back then, nobody worked from home. When COVID hit, everyone started working from home. I'm like, welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to the world. Welcome
Yes.
to the culture. I've been doing it since the 90s, but it was funny because I'd work from home and nobody understood what I was doing. Like, I'm consulting. Can't you pick up my dry cleaning? You're just at home.
Right.
No, I'm actually working. I'm developing projects. And then I was doing a lot of marketing consulting, putting together marketing projects for my clients. Like, you're at home. So that's a whole other story, but it was very funny because people literally thought, and my parents, God bless them, they didn't get it until I got myself an office. I opened my first business. One of my first businesses was Executive Suites. And there I had an office, and they're like, okay, Andy has an office.
Now you have a real job.
Now you have a real job.
You have an office.
Yeah. And they also got the Executive Suites because it was like a store with a bunch of offices you can sell. So they asked me, how many stores do you have? I have 3 now this year. And then I have 4 and I have 5. So, okay, Andy's got 5 stores. We get that.
Oh, yeah, it's tangible.
So it came together, right? I was learning everything about business. And then it was great to throw myself into it at 23 or 24, be a consultant, figure it out. Then I only charge 40 or 60 bucks an hour, whatever, still more than I can make in corporate America.
Yeah.
And people listened to me. That was really important. I kind of skipped over those entry-level positions where nobody listens to you. I see this with my clients who are executives. This is the problem with this corporate governance. There's teams. Even if you're an executive, doesn't mean anybody's listening to you. So when somebody hires me, they pay me for my ideas. And I love that. Even if I was only making 40 bucks as a 23 or 24-year-old, 40 bucks an hour, it was like amazing because people need me for my ideas. And it was great. And then I incorporated Kabbalah into it. I just didn't call it Kabbalah. I called it personal development or leadership, right? There's a lot of leadership principles in there.
What type of reaction do you get from people when they start to hire you and you bring in Kabbalah? Or do they know from the onset that you're going to be using Kabbalah and so you attract the right type of person?
That's a great story. So over the past year, I've been totally out of the closet about it. In the beginning, I would frame it under leadership and personal development. But that's one of the big changes I made. And I started a nonprofit called Spirituality and Business Institute, where I'm totally out about it. I'm an executive director of a nonprofit that's bringing Kabbalah and spiritual techniques to the business world and combining it with business scaling, which a lot of different people do, EOS and so forth.
Sure.
A lot of folks do that. So I'm totally out about it. And it was really scary to come out. It's amazing how open people today are spiritually hungry. We are living in a different world today. There's so many problems in the world, and people are getting that they're spiritual problems. They're soul level, heart level problems, right? We're disconnected from each other. Everybody's fighting each other in our country, within countries. There's a mental health crisis, there's all sorts of things going on. Everybody's afraid we're going to be replaced with AI. So it's a spiritual, and it's not like we don't have abundance. There's so much out there. There's so much wealth.
Yeah.
And so many opportunities, right? We can just get online. We can talk to each other halfway around the world.
Literally.
Right? Literally. And so the opportunities are endless, but it's a very scary time. So people are realizing, I see today like high-level CEOs go on a conference call with their team and cry over something. You couldn't do that 20 years ago. If you're a CEO and you cry about the plight of the world, you're going to get fired.
Yeah, 20 years.
Like, people are very open. They're much more open. So I really encourage people, be totally out about being heart-led, being spiritual, being soft on the inside. People want to see, and that's who they want to follow. So actually, some of my most successful clients are the most authentic clients. They're really open. They don't hold anything back. Maybe good, maybe bad, but they're very open about who they are.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great time. And it was very scary for me, of course, to say I'm a Kabbalist. And who does he think he is? He's a Kabbalist. He's studying this mysticism. But I was at a conference like a month ago in Guatemala at a tech and finance conference. I spoke on spirituality and business, and 100 people came up to me afterwards.
Wow.
Asking me questions. Tech people, finance people you'd never think, they're all open.
Yeah.
So it's a great time to be coming from your heart.
Yeah.
Great time.
That's amazing. What type of shifts have you seen with either yourself or with clients after kind of this all just kind of clicks in their mind and in their heart, and they start to see some changes.
Sure. Just recently, I could tell you a great story. I went through a process with a client. I have something called a change agent challenge. It's like a 6-day process where I take people through creating a template for something they want to. They're already typically CEOs who have some sort of business and they want to take it to the next level. And what are they here to change in the world, right? So I have this process with them. And this one CEO, very, very successful guy, super successful, but he realized through that process that he hasn't seen his kids enough. And when he gets to the end of his life, where does he want to be? Does he want to make $1 billion or maybe only 100 million, but have a relationship with his family? So he actually pulled back. And the first thing he did after 3 or 4 sessions is, and his son was another close by, but another country with his mom. And he went to visit. Now he's there all the time. He's living half the time and seeing his son a lot. Wow. So that's the kind of change when people open up. I see they start focusing on what's important. And for a lot of entrepreneurs, it's refocusing on maybe their health, their family, because you can have all the cars and all the houses. It's ultimately just going to be empty houses. And sometimes if the opposite happens, people use their children and their family as an excuse not to be up late at night and working hard. They make excuses about not following their path because they have children. I have 3 kids. I get it. My daughter's calling me right now. I'm ignoring it. I might bring her off. She's calling me about something. I have 3 kids, a wife. I have all these responsibilities. I have to be up sometimes late into the night working on my projects. That's being authentic to my path. And so I see both. So again, it's a balance. Yeah. When people reconnect, they really see what's important. And I'm there to hopefully hold them accountable as best as I can.
Cool. And once they've kind of reconnected to their inner voice and they've kind of gone all through your system and your process, what type of results have they gotten because they've opened up their heart? They've become more authentic to others.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you the founders who stick to it, I have a lot of clients, they've doubled their revenue 3 years in a row.
Wow.
Like some really incredible. 30-40% growth is normal, right? Because you're being authentic. And this is the key. So when you're authentic, you're speaking from your heart. What happens in let's say a sales conversation? And you know this very well. You're a master salesperson. I get all your emails, just amazing. But when you speak from the heart, you end up speaking to another person's heart. You can really be authentic. And those are the best salespeople who can really connect with other people. It seems like they're not even selling. They're selling things. Right. So they go from trying to sell to having authentic conversations with their clients, with their employees. Everybody stays longer. Everybody does better. Their teams get inspired because now they have a mission and they're speaking authentically. So that's like the big change. Yeah. And also I see that a lot of people who start businesses, they have a passion to do something, right? So they create a business to explore the passion. And then 8 years later, they're not only doing the passion, but they're the sales manager, they're the bookkeeper, they're the operations manager, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. One guy earlier this year, I asked for a job description and there were like at least 9 jobs he was doing in his company. I'm like, no wonder you don't sleep. I don't know how he lived. And some of these people are very successful, but they don't realize they've created this kind of prison. So what I do, that's the practical part of it, is listen, instead of maybe making $600,000 next year, maybe make $400,000, but use that 200 to hire 2 operations directors, right? Hire a sales manager, hire, a lot of them don't have people making $1 million a year. They don't have a outsourced executive assistant, or it's crazy. I'm like, you're working 80 hours a week. What's wrong with you? I asked them, what is your time worth? Let's say you have a $5 million company, even $1 million company, times 2,000 hours, let's say. I do numbers with it. You're valued at $500 an hour because you are the king or the queen of this business. That's why you're paid so much. So if it's $1 million business, if you work 2,000 hours, how much is that? That's $500 an hour. And they go, oh my God, never thought about it like that. So I tell them anything under that $500, somebody else needs to do. Okay. There's no doubt somebody else needs to do that work. And so we go through the practical part of it too, right? Be the CEO. Don't be the bookkeeper. Don't be the social media poster. Right? I'm sure you see this too a lot. Clients do it.
Yeah, personally.
Okay. Clients do too much. We have to talk then. But if you want to build a $5 million business, which is $2,500 an hour, that's how you have to start thinking.
Yeah.
If a $5 million business, my hourly is $2,500 an hour. Over 2026, let's say it's going to appear something. In this year, 2026, am I going to do things that are under that level? Sometimes you have to. Yes, there's an emergency.
Yeah.
But you could probably hire people for today, $8, $10, $15, $20 an hour, really qualified people with college degrees to do other countries, Colombia, the Philippines, different places.
Yeah.
Where that's a really great living and they can do a lot of this stuff for you. So if you want to get that 5 million or have guys going towards 100 million, I don't even know what the hourly is, $10,000 an hour, whatever that is. You can't do your bookkeeping.
No.
They still are. So it's a practical thing to help them start thinking like a CEO that they're meant to be, or a CEO of their life, of their business, and get people to help you. I'll say just the final thing. There's no such thing. It's a myth. I was talking about that today with somebody. There's no such thing as the self-made man or woman. It doesn't exist. We all need help, whether it's bringing on partners who can help us grow our business, we can share the wealth with, or we hire people, or we ask for help. They get a coach, something. This whole idea of I'm going to do it myself and I'm a self-made millionaire, it's a myth. It's a myth. It doesn't exist. So that's the kind of things we work through, right? The spiritual part, also the practical part. Know your value.
I love that. I love that so much. And I was laughing because literally yesterday I hired a bookkeeper.
Oh,
so
congratulations.
I don't need to be doing, but I like to do some. Believe it or not, I don't know how I got away with this, but I actually enjoy accounting work, which is weird because I'm not a really big numbers person.
It's fun, right? Yeah. You can see it.
Yeah, it's very practical, but I don't need to be like reconciling my QuickBooks to my bank account.
Correct. Yeah, a lot of times I use the term divorce. You have to literally divorce yourself from a lot of the jobs you like doing if you want to grow. Married to, you love it, right? The numbers, looking at QuickBooks, looking at bank accounts, P&Ls, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? If you want to make $10 million or $50 million, maybe you have once a month meeting with your bookkeeper.
Yeah, exactly.
He or she reconciles everything, and it's a discipline for sure to have a financial meeting once a month.
Maybe more than that, and just getting by. And now I can have her do like all the reconciliations, take up that 5 hours. Those 5 hours now I get back to grow the business.
Correct.
5 hours that for the last, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years that I've been investing in QuickBooks.
Yeah. How much can you sell? That's 250 hours a year. You could have been
another
closing
100
business.
Yeah. And if you do a 50% close rate, that's another 125 clients.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. That's how you have to look at it. Yes, you have to divorce yourself. And there's probably other things you do as well that you need to just divorce yourself from, even though it's fun.
Yeah.
And just focus on closing, which I know you're really good at. That's it. And if you're not passionate about that, then try another business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This has been just fascinating. And one of the first interviews that we've had that we've combined a spiritual practice with business practice. And I think it's really brilliant to help people in all different walks of life, just have different tools available to them to be successful.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
How can people learn more about what you're doing and potentially work with you?
Yeah. So I have a few free kind of playbooks and webinars that I have a host on my site. One of them, if people want to learn about the inner part of this work, I have something called the Inner CEO, which is a bunch of exercises. It's a playbook. It's pretty long. It's 40, 50 pages long. So it's not just like a white paper. It's not fluff. I take a lot of these ideas that I work with clients, and I think you'll probably provide a link at the bottom of this podcast. They can click on and just download the Inner CEO. It is going behind a paywall very soon. If you're listening to this podcast and it's behind a paywall already, contact me through the website and I'll send you a code because we are working there. I gave it away for free to test it in the marketplace. There's been several hundred downloads. And at this point, I'm going to put it behind a paywall. Yeah. But I will send a code because I know it's happening now. They're putting it behind a paywall, but it's still available for the foreseeable future, but it will go behind a paywall. But the Inner CEO is a great place to start because that'll give you a whole playbook on how to bring mindfulness and meditation and this kind of stuff into business building.
And a nice practical approach to doing it. I love that.
Absolutely. Step by step. I'm very practical.
Well, thanks for putting that up there for the audience. I'm sure they will really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Andrew, thanks again for spending your time with us today and just sharing your philosophy and your approach to building businesses with heart. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, it's been great. I'll do it again. This is a great conversation. Thanks so much, Tom.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in today. We really do appreciate it. Make sure you're checking out everything that Andrew's doing, and we're going to connect all of that down into the show notes. So it makes it very easy. Just click on that link and get that playbook and start connecting better to your heart and with your purpose and be a better CEO. And while you're down there clicking away, if you could do me a favor and share the show with a friend or family member who could use some of the advice that we shared today. Until next time, lead with your heart.
You've been listening to the Heart-Led Business Show, hosted by Tom Jacobs. Join us next time for another inspiring journey into the heart of business.